I think what I'd love to dive into, if it's good with you, is, what prompted your decision to sell these businesses, right? What did you see on the table that makes you decide, hey, this is time? And the reason I ask is we get so many calls every week of hey, I have somebody interested in buying our business. Is this the
Yeah.
right time to
Yeah.
do it? And for us, we're not the investment banker. We're just building the best M&A team for a founder. So our first step is, hey, let's figure out if this is truly the right thing for not only for your business and your stakeholders, but for you personally. What is this outcome going to look like? But yeah, would love to hear your decision process on those two, on the last two.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting because one of the things I always talk about, and knowing I was coming on to this podcast, it brought back a lot of the memories I have, or a lot of thoughts I have around M&A and around exits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is ultimately, you never. I think that anyone that's been an entrepreneur probably understands this better than people that haven't been. But there's two moments in time that people will always compliment you, or will always like congratulate you as as a founder, right? They'll congratulate you when they see that you've raised a round of financing.
Yeah.
And it's always funny because it's like there's nothing. I mean, I guess some congratulations are in line, but it's like it doesn't really mean anything. And actually, like, that just means like the hard work is
Yeah.
starting, right? And so,
External validation, maybe, right? Maybe.
yeah. Well, and also, like, if you want to run the business, but like it isn't, to me, a milestone that should be like
No.
celebrated with any kind of anything beyond like, let's just go get dinner and celebrate
Yeah.
the fact that we're gonna have jobs for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, the other moment is M&A, right? And I think it's similarly often a bittersweet moment. And I think people don't realize that, because if you start a company with the idea of selling it, you're, in my mind, a soulless entrepreneur, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not why. And people do this all the time. Like, you see people talk about like, oh, I'm going to start this company, and like, I know, like, I used to work for, say, Microsoft, and I know that this is an area they're deficient in. So I think in the worst, they'll, be a soft landing. And like, I think that's a weird way to think about when you start a company. I mean, I think M&A happens, and it happens in many different scenarios, right? Like, I was once talking to Kevin Systrom, and it was, Kevin Systrom was the founder of Instagram, and I was talking to him maybe, I don't know, 6 months after he had sold Instagram to Facebook. And I remember we were having like a drink, and he said to me, he goes, I didn't start my company to sell it, but if someone offers me $1 billion for sort of 18 months of work, like, it's kind of hard for me not to look very hard at that, right? And
Right.
so, I think financial, like, security and like an outcome that just really makes sense for you financially, um, that's one reason to do it, right? And like, no one, like, people follow golf right now. Like, there's all these guys taking financial security to go play in the live tour, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't fault them, because there is a certain amount of, in life, like, financial security is very, very important. And especially, once that whole calculus changes when you have children, which is like something that I have now. Like, I have children now, and it's like a different sort of financial picture. So I think, on the top, is this a life-changing event for me that really financially, sets me up? If that's true, that there's a different calculus that you probably want to go through. The less easy decision really comes down to more of like, is this a good strategic move for me and the company? And strategic means a lot of different things, right? In this case, like, strategic could mean like, oh, I'm aligning with a really good company that will help me sort of like, better realize like what I'm trying to do, right? And strategic could also be like, in the case of Citizen Sports, it was strategic to sell to Yahoo because it was 2008. There
Mm-hmm.
was a really global economic meltdown that was happening,
Mm-hmm.
and we needed to raise more money. And, the outcome of selling to Yahoo was going to be a reasonable outcome for both our investors and our employees. And so, with the macro environment and the options around us, the idea of selling to Yahoo was the best option, right?
Yep.
In the
Yep.
case of 10xer, um, similarly, we realized that we needed to sell our product into the enterprise.
Mhm.
And we were not an enterprise sales company. No one in our team knew how to do that. One of my key employees told me that he had just found out his wife was pregnant with their first kid, and he was a guy that like would just grind every day. And I was like, I can't make you grind every day when we have this opportunity to go join Twitter and really have a great work life balance. So what's funny is he's basically been at Twitter since then because it's just been such a great work life balance and a great situation for him. And me as a CEO, I'm making that decision because I care deeply about the people that work for me and want to make the right decision for them.